Hello, and welcome again to the Writer Report. My name is Eric Ryder, and this week we're going to be looking at the 1986 movie called Night Mother, and it was directed by Tom Moore, and it's based on a Pulitzer Prize-winning play by Marcia Norman, which actually went on to become a Broadway hit in 1983 with Kathy Bates as Jessie Cates and Anne Petoniak as Thelma Bates. But in this stage-to-screen transition, two well-prolific Academy Award-winning actresses take the helm here. Sissy Spacek as Jessie Cates and Anne Bancroft as Thelma Cates. The genre of the movie is a drama that deals with the issues of suicide and one's journey to just end it all when there's no reason in life to continue. Alright, let me just look over the plot here. Jessie Cates is an epileptic person who has gone through a very difficult life. She can't drive, she can't hold a steady job because of her illness, and to make matters worse, her husband left her and her wayward son is running away from the law. So she eventually has no other choice but to move back home to the only person she could seek reassurance from, her mother, Thelma. They live in a humble bungalow and get by in life just doing routine activities with very little contact from the outside world. So one night, Jessie asks her mother where she hides the handgun that her father has. Thelma casually tells her where it is, not knowing that what she's about to do is something very drastic. Simply figuring out that there's no point in continuing on, feeling a sense of hopelessness, and up to the point where there's no other alternative in life, she decides to commit suicide. So then Thelma tries to persuade her not to do it, and the only question that comes to mind is, do you think Thelma had fulfilled the task of trying to get her daughter Jessie to avoid committing suicide, or is it just simply too late? For what it is, you're just gonna have to see to know the answer. Alright, here's pretty much my opinion about the movie. As we all know, 90% of the setting is in this small house, and they move around from various places in the house. Of course, it's probably due to it being a low-budget movie, but as you all know, because it was originally based on a play, this movie has the looks and the feels like a play. And even though there's very little action in the movie, that's not exactly a big or necessarily a bad thing, because it's the dialogue in the movie that really makes the movie special. And the performances by Sissy Spacek and Bancroft were just totally mesmerizing. They were very, very convincing, and it actually felt very natural too, because it felt like they really bonded together as a mother and daughter. And it doesn't feel like, and Bancroft playing Thelma and Sissy Spacek playing Jessie. They really did convince me to believe that they actually were mother and daughter. The body language was also phenomenal. I mean, you can actually feel convinced, and you can actually feel the pain and the suffering that Jessie is going through. And you can feel the emotional trauma the whole time through with Anne Bancroft's performance. If there was anything that didn't sit very well to me, it was the cinematography by Stephen Boyd. At times it kind of felt a little too spontaneous. And yet this was a dark, depressing, sad movie, like you would probably expect. I mean, this is a movie that deals with a very heavy subject, and it should have been taken into a little more consideration that this movie was intended to be drab. But instead, Stephen Boyd makes it into something a little more spontaneous, and that kind of upset the apple cart, so to speak. I was equally impressed by the score. The music in the background was very, very convincing, as it was just, simple acoustic guitars being played in the background. And the best part about that is that it didn't overlap with the dialogue. I mean, because it's the dialogue in this movie that is the meal ticket in this movie, so to speak. Just to conclude here, the thought of suicide and movies that are about suicide can be a bit hard to handle. This could be an educational movie, for people who have experienced depression or who have contemplated suicide. And, this could touch upon a lot of people, because I've read a lot of comments here on IMDb that this movie did uplift people's spirits. And maybe this movie probably was intended to be inspirational. I don't think this movie is encouraging people that, if all hopes are off, the only solution is suicide. I would not recommend anybody to commit such an act, but I think it's out to get the message across and to seek probably other alternatives. If you feel that you're just too depressed to continue on in life and you want to end it all, to look for other alternatives to deal with the solution, whether it be medication or therapy or whatnot. It's just some kind of, food for thought, so to speak. If there's anything that turned me off a bit, and it's not because I have a short attention span or anything like that, I just thought that the pace was painfully slow at times. And I also thought that the stage-to-screen formatting was at a low, because I guess because of the frugal budget, and because sometimes I guess the set pieces were kind of awkward, but that's just a very minor quib. Of course, I guess the safest thing to say is to summarize that Spacek and Bancroft really did a fine piece of work here. And of course, Anne Bancroft went on to become nominated for a Golden Globe for her performance. If I'm not mistaken, Kathy Bates in the Broadway production was nominated for a Tony Award. And I gotta give hats off to Marsha Norman for not only writing a great play, but for also writing a very engaging, provocative, and mesmerizingly haunting tale, and succeeds in keeping the dialogue real and the characters real and enthralling. So there you have it, folks. So if you ever catch the movie Night Mother, be sure to bring a box of tissues with you. You've been warned. And I thank you very much for your time and patience. Remember, if you wish to see any of my movie reviews, go to imdb.com. I go by the name Eric262003, and I hope to read some of your responses. Remember, be nice, be polite, and I thank you very much. Good day.